You know that moment when something really small happens, someone criticizes you or interrupts you or ignores you, and your reaction comes out way too strong for what's happening. Yeah. It rises before you even have time to think, and your words come out too sharp or you shut down completely. And a few minutes later, you're asking yourself, what just happened? Why did I react like that? That's emotional dysregulation. And it's a common symptom in people who grew up with trauma. It can quietly wreck your life. It can ruin connection, push away people you love, and make you distrust yourself. You promise that you'll handle it better next time, and then the next trigger hits, and the same thing happens again. You can recognize dysregulation by its intensity and timing. A minor setback, a disagreement, or a perceived slight unleashes your anger or your grief or your panic that takes over your whole body. And in the moment, the reaction feels necessary. It has to be this way. It's very strong, but it isn't proportional to what's actually happening. Sometimes it breaks through exactly when you don't want it to. You've been holding it together, and then a small thing pushes you past what you can manage. You raise your voice, you cry, or you say something sharp that you wish you could take back. And you can feel it building, the tightening, the racing thoughts, the loss of focus, and the reaction takes over before you can stop it. When you're emotionally dysregulated, something happens and it triggers what feels like a chemical storm in your body. You can almost feel it running through your bloodstream like a toxic drug. Well, it's hormones, it's stress hormones. And emotions surge up really fast, out of proportion to what's going on, or at a completely inappropriate time. You might cry at work. I mean, this can happen, but there's a way that it can intrude on just you trying to do your job and be who you want to be there, if you know what I'm talking about. Emotional dysregulation can make you unleash an angry outburst on someone who doesn't deserve it. Your thoughts start swinging around like a wrecking ball, and they go from one extreme to the other: blame, panic, despair, rage. And where these thoughts go barely matters to you in that moment because you believe. It feels very true when you're in the middle of it. You believe that you're wronged. And sometimes emotional dysregulation shows up as the opposite: emotional shutdown. You might go from being very intense, crying, yelling, pleading, to just nothing. You go flat. You stop feeling anything. A numb state of dissociation comes over you. And both of these states, feeling too much or nothing at all, can lead you to say and do things that you don't really mean, things that frighten or hurt the people on the receiving end. And it's hard to face, but this is how your trauma becomes other people's trauma until you learn to re-regulate. What unfolds from this dynamic destroys relationships and makes your trauma wounds worse. And that's why healing emotional dysregulation is the most powerful thing you can do to stop the damage and allow your trauma wounds to heal finally. Now, I'm going to tell you what to do when you notice you're emotionally dysregulated. But before I forget, I want to give you a link to my dysregulation quiz. It's a list of signs of dysregulation that you can use to check and keep with you to help you recognize when you're slipping into a dysregulated state. When you notice it, you can take action to get re-regulated. And I'll put the link to that in the top row of the description section below this video. So when emotional dysregulation starts, the first thing is to notice it and then to interrupt it before it escalates. Name it. Say to yourself, I'm dysregulated. Yeah, that one sentence helps you step outside the reaction and remember what's happening. And then you make sure that you're safe. This is not the time to drive a car, not the time to, confront somebody who's threatening you. You want to pull over. You want to get to a safe space where you're free to deal with your dysregulation and get re-regulated before you are facing any problems at all, if you can. If what triggered you was an argument, use gentle words to stop the interaction for now. You can say things like, I want to continue this conversation, but I need to take a breather to calm down. And if you don't want to say that you're triggered, just say you need to go to the bathroom or that you have a call on the other line if you're on the phone. And then don't get into a discussion about it. Just put the conversation on pause. Buy some time. Separate from the other person if you can. Go to a room by yourself, even if it's, the kitchen, the attic. Do whatever you need to do. No one has to know what you're doing. And if it feels urgent to carry on the conversation and confront and yell, take even longer before you try to resolve anything. You can use your body to help re-regulate. You can stamp your feet. As each foot comes down, quietly say to yourself, right, left, left. And this brings you back into present time in your body and helps your brain begin to re-regulate. You can take 10 deep breaths, focusing particularly on the out breath. Just breathe out slow. You can press your tongue to the back of your teeth and sit down and feel the weight of your butt in the chair. And these are just simple physical ways to return to presence. People say it, getting back in your body. And of course, you're always in your body because you're alive. But that is a metaphor, being in your body, for being attuned to the environment that's right around you, attuned to yourself, attuned to what's outside of you. That's what we call being in your body. So you can support your body while your body starts settling down. Eat something. When you're stressed, you're probably going to crave carbs and sugar, right? I do. But protein is what helps you get grounded again. Wash your hands. Pay attention to the feeling of the water and the soap, because warm water is extra calming and cold water can snap you out of things. If someone you trust is nearby, you can get a good squeezing hug. And if no one's around, you can press your back into a corner and wrap your arms around yourself so you feel pressure all around your torso. I recommend you stay quiet until the intensity comes down. Don't rush to talk or explain. Wait until your thoughts clear and your body feels steady again. That's when you'll know you're re-regulated. And from there, the way you re-enter matters. You don't have to talk it out while you're still dysregulated. In fact, talking too much while you're upset can make you more dysregulated and can trigger dysregulation in the person listening. So it's better to talk less, listen more, and pay attention to whether the interaction is helping you settle your nervous system. Everything that needs to be said can and should be said, but just not necessarily in that moment. So wait until you're calmer and more lucid and able to feel the full range of your feelings, not just the anger, not just the anxiety or the panic that you're going to get left. So when your feelings have returned to you, the range of them, now you can begin to choose your words. If the intense thoughts start fluttering back in, remind yourself to hold the thought and focus on your next steps, clear actions and words once you're steady. And if you need to pause a conversation with someone, you can do it clearly and kindly. Tell them you want to continue and propose a time to return, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour, so it doesn't feel like abandonment. Use the break you've just taken, not for ruminating or scrolling on your phone. You're going to use it to get re-regulated. And then come back when you said you would and continue from a regulated state. Now, by the way, these instructions are laid out in detail in my online course, Dysregulation Bootcamp. It's a short and sweet little course, about an hour of video content plus worksheets that help you learn and remember and apply the lessons to your own life. And I'll put a link to that course in the second line of the description section below this video. Now, none of this is about suppressing feelings. The feelings are real. The problem is the intensity and the timing. Now, these measures allow the emotions to settle enough that you don't do damage while it's high. And they give you a way to return to the conversation when you're able to be fair, lucid, attentive. That's how you stop dysregulated reactions before they damage your relationships or your self-respect. Over time, when you use these steps, it rebuilds your ability to stay balanced, under stress. The emotions still come, but they move through naturally without taking over your behavior. Healing emotional dysregulation is never about not getting upset. That's not what it is. It's about knowing how to spot dysregulation and get re-regulated as quickly as possible. And when you can do that, you stop the damage and allow the healing of your trauma wounds to begin at last. If you like this video, I've got one that you're going to love right here, and I'll see you very soon. Their mom just died, and instead of giving them some empathy, you tell a long story about what happened when your mom died. And I know that's intended as a way to feel connected and show that you do understand, but it's a telltale sign that listening empathically was not something done enough for you.